Good day, everyone. My name is Paul Marquis, coming to you live from Quebec City, beautiful Quebec City. It's a lovely. That was sunny. It's getting a little overcast, but I have more light coming in from the window than from in front of me, unfortunately. But yeah, that's okay. We're talking about what do we talk about here? Talk about mental health in the workplace, psychological well-being. How are you today? How are your workers today? How are we going to get along? Is there anyone that's really struggling and suffering? These are the things that we want to talk about in my blog on mental health in the workplace. Again, Paul Marquis, directly from Quebec City. Yes, please reach out, marquissafety.com. One word, Marquis, MARQUISSAFETY, marquissafety.com, to see my website. And you'll see on my website, I talk about, suicidal ideology and what do we do for, our fellow workers and even our neighbors that don't seem right today. If someone's depressed and how do we get out of this cycle of depression? But today I'm just going to talk a little bit about recovery-aware workplaces. Because if you go to that website that I just mentioned, www.marquissafety.com, on the first page, you see at the bottom, it says recovery-aware workplace. What is that? What is a recovery-aware workplace? And so we want your workplaces not only to be aware of mental health issues, but aware of workers that might need help with substance use disorder. So that's the clinical term now for addiction and alcoholism, substance use disorder. And so what does a recovery-aware workplace provide? So my friends, Dr. Paul Farnham, and Doctors Paul Sobey did quite a bit of research on this in Alberta and British Columbia in Canada. And so there's some support here. But basically, a recovery-aware workplace is a workplace that the employer, so if you guys need help with this, if you're the employer, please call me, 604-889-7140. I'll put the number and the website in the comments. And so how do we provide support and offer assistance to employees who are struggling in recovery? And how do we educate? How do we inform the employees and management about policies and processes that support recovery? Maybe you do have an employment assistance program, EAP. I know it's that acronym's used differently over at Amazon in the States. But here in Canada, mostly we use EAP as an employment assistance program. So if your HR department, has a means for you to get help, I'm sorry, my foot's itchy. And so what do we have as a workplace? What are we providing the worker from the employer's side? So we want to educate employees and management about our policies and processes that support recovery. Because if we write something in our health and safety program, and I can help you with that too, because I write them. If you have this in your health and safety program, how is it communicated? Does anyone even know about it? And then you want to go on and create a healthy environment by promoting a safe and healthy workspace. Talk about mental health. If you want to bring me in as a speaker, I'd be happy to come out and talk to you about mental health, about people who get depressed. Sometimes whys, maybe we don't know the whys, but we certainly know some of the trigger signs. We can see the signs, and I talk about that. I speak at that. And so we would also want to reduce the stigma of substance use disorder, not call it addiction or addicts or druggies and alcoholics, just substance use disorder, and reduce the stigma. We want to work to reduce the stigma around addiction and mental illness. If you have employees that are depressed, that aren't doing well today, come in the morning, you had a fight with your spouse, and maybe a fellow worker sees this, talk to them. Bring them down a little bit. Let them know somebody cares. Just by saying, do you want to talk? Could change a whole person's life, a whole day. And if you see someone that's struggling mentally, the Buddhists call it monkey mind, where the head just doesn't stop. My brain's talking to me constantly about this thing and that thing and the other thing. And when we're in depression, it's even worse because it's really bad shit, right? And so how do we stop this? Just by looking at someone in the eye and saying, are you okay today? And when they say, fine, if, depending on the way they respond to you, you'll know if they really need a little bit of help. And just saying, if you want to talk, I'm there for you. They might not need to talk. They might not want to talk. But just giving them that opportunity to release, letting them know that someone cares, that they matter. Everyone needs to know that they matter. Let's provide that. Let's expand employment opportunities and create opportunities for people in recovery to re-enter and enter the workplace. Let's provide reasonable accommodation. And how to support recovery in the workplace is by creating a positive work environment. Offer wellness programs. Promote recovery. I have a friend of mine who's many years in recovery, and he employs 120 workers. And he talks to them. Every single worker in his organization knows that he's a recovered addict and that he supports if you need help. And I've seen some of his employees that were in trouble, and they're now in recovery programs, and their lives and their families are doing a lot better than when they were stuck in that cycle of addiction. Let's help people to get out of that cycle. And it's hard to force them. We can't force them because there's the denial part. And that's a whole other story. I'd love to bring you more information on that. Phone me up, 604-889-7140. I'd love to come and present to you on mental health in the workplace and how we can overcome the stigma. How can we talk about it more? Bring it face to face to workers in management alike, especially management, upper management. You guys maybe you're very emotionally stable. Most likely you're a lot more emotionally stable than the guy who's living from paycheck to paycheck, building your buildings for you, or running your warehouses, running your dangerous equipment. And the cost of loss is incredible. So we don't want loss. We want to find out how we can prevent loss, how we can prevent people from retaliating if they do something wrong at work because they were depressed. And then, bad things happen. It's like a domino effect, one thing after the other. So let's prevent these things from happening by bringing it out in the light and talking about it. Call me, 604-889-7140. My name's Paul Marquis. My website's marquissafety.com. And I'm coming to you from Quebec City and available internationally. And have a great day.